need your help. Hello, welcome to Cynic Critique, where we get real with cult films. I'm your host Brian, and I'm here with my brother and co-host, my bro-host, Thomas.
Hello.
This week we are stuck on a call as we discuss 2003's Phone Booth, 2004's Cellular, and its 2008 remake, Connected.
Yeah, shall I kick us off with Phone Booth?
Yep.
From 2003.
Yeah.
Don't even think about leaving that booth.
Wrong number, pal.
I'm aiming at you right now. Can you feel it? Stu.
Did you call me Stu? Who is this?
Someone who enjoys watching you.
Directed by Joel Schumacher, written by Larry Cohen, starring Colin Farrell as Stu Shepherd, Keith Sutherland as the caller, Forrest Whitaker as Captain Ramsey, Radha Mitchell as Kelly Shepherd, Kate Holmes as Pamela McFadden, Richard T. Jones as Sergeant Colt. It was on a budget of $13 million and grossed $97,837,138. And the synopsis reads, a publicist, Stu Shepherd, finds himself trapped in a phone booth, pinned down by an extortionist sniper, unable to leave or receive outside help. Stuart's negotiation with the caller leads to a jaw-dropping climax. That last bit's irrelevant.
The jaw-dropping, or the climax?
Both. I think we first watched this film when it was pre-released in the UK on home release.
Yeah, I want to say it's one of the last VHSs we bought, even though we had a DVD player.
Yeah.
It was on sale somewhere in a shop.
Yeah.
I believe we got this. Do you remember what the other VHS was? I could be wrong on this, but I think it was of the old black and white Invisible Man.
It could have been. I don't know. I just remember mainly this because it was Colin Farrell from Daredevil.
Yeah. This is a bloody good thriller to say that it's him in a phone box for the whole movie.
Yeah.
For his sins, you could say.
Yeah.
Which I guess if you look at it in that angle, it's kind of like an allegory for being in the confession booth at a church.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite an odd way of looking at it.
Yeah. I think the only thing I didn't remember from this film is the actual opening and closing shots of the satellite in space.
I'd already forgot about them as well. Why were they there?
I'm not really sure, but I like to think it's mainly to show that the whole open world that there is, and for the whole of this film, we're just trapped in this box with Colin Farrell.
Yeah. I only ask because I also wonder if it's there on the myth that phone signals are sent up to a satellite and back down when really they're just fed through lines.
And that. Yeah, it's probably that.
What, on the myth of...
Yeah, because it does show you the satellite and it focuses on that, so that is where the call's coming from.
This is a great film, and I don't think only Joel Schumacher could have made this.
No.
But it's certainly within his wheelhouse when you look at Falling Down and 8mm.
Yeah.
Which 8mm is like the spiritual sequel to 7.
Yeah.
If no one's ever seen it. It's from 98, 99. Well worth checking out.
Yeah.
Especially to say that was his first film after Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Polar opposites.
Completely. I love 8mm.
The writer anyway, Larry Cohen, apparently pitched this idea to Hitchcock in the 60s.
Yeah.
And Hitchcock liked it, but Cohen couldn't figure out how to keep a man in a phone box for a runtime of the film until the 90s, which is when he got the sniper idea, which I just find a bit crazy that it took him that long to get the idea.
Yeah.
Especially considering there was a major sniper event in the 70s because the sniper's name was Whitman.
Yeah.
He was a tower sniper, I think. They reference him in Mad Men.
I kind of like the fact it took him that long to the point where phone boxes were near enough obsolete.
Yeah, he got in good with it, really. But I guess it helps add to a reason of why he's using a phone box, to the idea of why he's been called out on it.
Yeah.
Called out. But I saw that this could have been a Michael Bay film.
Yeah.
And apparently when pitched it to Michael Bay, he said,
how do we get him out of the booth?
Yeah.
Now, I like to think he either hadn't read the script
I wanted to know how it...
Yeah.
Like the end, basically, how does this resolve?
Yeah. Or he genuinely wanted to get Colin Farrell out that booth like halfway through the movie or something.
Yeah. In fact, to be honest, I think he wanted something more like what the next film would be that we don't talk about, which I find odd. Mel Gibson was apparently signed on to star in this at one point.
Yeah.
Long enough apparently to have given ideas to Cohen for the screenplay.
Yeah.
Ideas that apparently make it to the film.
Yeah.
And are kept, but then Mel Gibson backed out. but I can't find what those ideas Mel Gibson gave
No.
or for how long he was attached to doing this film and who would have been the director when he was attached.
Mel Gibson would have been the director.
Oh, he would have been the director.
Yeah.
Right. And star.
All right. I'm not sure about Star, but probably.
See, I thought he was right. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. I don't know when Spielberg was apparently attached to director. That was a weird
'Cause
one for me.
I had seen that Wahlberg was in on this
Yep.
and dropped out for Planet of the Apes.
Yep.
So he's like, he could have worked with a Batman director and then dropped out to go work with another Batman director. Will Smith was attached to being the lead.
Yeah.
And the one that I kind of would have liked to see that could have been the lead was Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a fan of him in Number 23, and I'm not a big fan of the film Dark Crimes that he did.
No, but it was
But I like his performance in it, and the film story is pretty good. It's just lacking a little somewhere, and I'd need to rewatch it to really comment on that.
Yeah. The other two people that were considered were Nicolas Cage,
Oh, right, okay.
who I think could have been great.
Do you think he'd played it as, as low-key as Colin Farrell does, or do you think he'd have gone a little over the top with it? Because he always seems to understand the film.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think his performance is one of them that would just change the tone of this film if he...
Yeah, it might have come off a bit more comedic.
Yeah.
Who knows? But the other one was Tom Cruise, and I kind of like the idea of Tom Cruise in this as well.
If Tom Cruise was in this, I feel it would have to be his character from Collateral. I don't know why, but that's what I would have gone for. Although this would have been before Collateral, I think. Yeah, it would. Collateral, I think, is about 04 or 05. But one of the important choices here that was attached, or they wanted anyway, was Roger Jackson to be the caller. He's the voice of Ghostface in, I think, all the Scream films.
Yeah, I believe so.
It's always his voice on the phone. And for what it's worth, I don't see why they just didn't do that here.
Yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland is the voice on the phone, and for what it's worth, I don't think it's particularly worth having his name attached.
No.
I mean, they even kept him from the promos, all the marketing of this. It was only once it went to home release where they attached his name to the covers and stuff,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty cool, but his name also isn't going to sell the film. You've got nothing to really show of him, and it doesn't sound like him on the phone.
Yeah.
But what's weird of casting him is the events of this film play out in real time, like the series 24, which he was in.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool. Or interested, anyway.
And the last on casting that I know is Ray Liotta could have been Captain Raimi that Forrest Whitaker plays.
Yes, and I think that would have changed the film as well.
Yeah.
I think it's something I'm growing more aware of as well. When you cast an actor in a film, they come with people's expectations of their back films.
Right.
You cast an actor in a role and you get an idea of how they would play it.
Yeah.
And you would know if it's different or not. I think Forrest Whitaker's take is more of a normal, expected position. I think if Ray Liotta would have played it, it would have felt like a big performance and not a more understated performance. Probably drawing you away from the story a little more with his scenes. I don't know, could be wrong. Also, you mentioned it was, is it Rhoda Mitchell?
Rhoda Mitchell.
Yeah, as Kelly Shepard, which is Colin Farrell's wife in the film.
Right.
She really seems to have disappeared because in the 2000s she was kind of everywhere. She was in Pitch Black,
Yeah.
the Silent Hill adaptation. She did return for the sequel. She was in the Man on Fire remake with Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
And she was in the Crazies remake with Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in a few other things, but she doesn't seem as prominent anymore as she did.
No.
And while watching this as well, we didn't just comment about where she'd disappeared to. We mentioned about how this was probably shot quite quickly with it only needing one location.
Yeah.
Which we were right about. All the phone booth scenes were shot in 10 days, and then the remaining 2 days were just exterior shots. So probably the part in the flat when you get that and other bits.
Yeah.
Like Katie Holmes's parts were shot. Some of her scenes in the restaurant were shot when the actors were on breaks.
Yeah.
Apparently Schumacher liked the location or something,
Yeah.
which I thought was kind of cool. What's the runtime on this? 80-something minutes?
86 minutes,
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers at you.
81 minutes according to IMDb.
Right, shorter than I thought.
And for the runtime of the film, there's a lot happening in it, really, even though you're just at one location.
Oh, yeah. This one really knows how to keep it moving.
It is tight and it is economic as hell with its runtime.
Yeah.
And it does manage to condense a lot of important information needed early on before the real plot kicks off with the phone box.
Yeah. Great filmmaking all around, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think Schumacher was one of the best directors ever, and it's sadly studios didn't seem to want to give him the funding, I don't feel, for some of his later films when you look at some of the ones he was doing in the 2000s.
Yeah. Number 23, I think, was the
Career Killer.
Yeah, that seemed to be like the last one where they seemed to give him a budget.
But he'd made films between this and that.
Yeah.
I think Tigerland is where he reunites with Colin Farrell.
No, that was before then.
Oh, that's before? Wow,
He had
okay.
to sell the studio on Colin Farrell being the lead for this.
Oh, for this?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
They wanted one of the other names we mentioned,
Yeah.
but he kept fighting for Colin Farrell to be the lead.
Colin Farrell wasn't quite a big name then. He was still on his up and ups.
Yeah.
Because I think he'd done The Recruit around this time.
Yeah.
With Al Pacino, which is a phenomenal spy thriller, I think.
Yeah.
Some people hate it. It's very of its time, but I think most films are. Like, it's obvious that it's a part of that era where it's from.
Yeah.
It's rare you get the odd timeless classics where they're so entrenched in that era it just wouldn't work at all that it remains timeless, I guess.
Yeah.
This was supposed to premiere in 2002, which I think is the year IMDb has it, because it did play at TIFF and probably some other film festivals. But apparently there was some sniper attacks in October that year, so 20th Century Fox delayed it until 2003.
Yeah.
It's probably for the best, really, because the caller warns Stu not to move because he could be shot 41 times for just pulling out his wallet.
Yeah.
When he's trying to prove he doesn't have a gun on him, kind of thing, to the police when they show up.
Yeah.
That's apparently a reference to a real-life killing where the police approached someone and shot them for when he was pulling out his wallet to show him his ID. They mistakenly thought it was a gun and fired 41 rounds at him.
Yeah.
Which is a tragic incident, but apparently that's what that line's referencing.
Yeah.
Which seems a bit odd to me. We got the idea enough that he was going to be shot without having to reference a real-life event, but I guess it's just one of them little details to make it feel like it's in the real world.
Yeah, we're going to say it solidifies it into the real world. Makes it a bit more believable.
One thing I did find quite fascinating was the phone booth they say is on the north side of West 53rd Street between Broadway and 8th Avenue.
Yeah.
The filming began there, but it was already November 2000 and much too cold for the cast and crew, apparently. So after one day, the shoot took over a historic section of downtown LA on 5th Street, which looks like New York, save for the well-known Studio 54 and Ed Sullivan Theatre, which are in the original locations block.
Yeah.
I found that quite fascinating because I would not have known this was LA at all. Whereas when you see Colin Farrell in Daredevil, which is a New York setting, it's very obvious that is LA. They're filming it. Very obvious.
Yeah.
We might come to that another time, I don't know.
LA?
No, the Daredevil film, sorry.
Yeah.
Another thing was Larry Cohen had pitched this idea to Tony Curtis, who was interested.
Right.
Curtis made too many demands, so the producers passed on him.
Right.
I can't imagine this film working with Tony Curtis either.
No.
Strangely, I can imagine it working with Will Smith.
Yeah.
And I can imagine it working with Mark Wahlberg when you think of the films they were doing around this time.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey is the one I can't see what it would be like, and that really intrigues me.
I think it'd have been great with Jim Carrey.
Because that would have then been his first serious role, wouldn't it?
Don't believe so.
No?
No, I don't.
Man on the Moon?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of a comedy itself, though, isn't it? It's like a
biopic about a real person.
Yeah, I know.
But it's not a comedy.
It's funny.
It can be, but it's not really a comedy.
Okay. But yeah, that is before this, because that's late 90s then. Well, as for cast, you mentioned Richard T. Jones in this as Sergeant Cole.
Yeah.
We've previously had him on here before. Well, we haven't had him on here before. We've spoke of him before.
Yeah.
He's from Event Horizon, which we had on an episode a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he was on our Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, Counted Too Soon. Well, he wasn't on it. He was featured on it because he's from the show.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that because that links to something in the next one.
Right.
Josh Pace is in this. He's got a little part as a character called Mario. He doesn't have much.
No.
But we've mentioned him before because he was Raphael in the original 1990s TMNT film.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes. Ben Foster's uncredited in this, though, which I quite like, and he plays Big Q.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very small part.
Very
Not a
small.
blink and you miss it.
Yeah.
And more surprisingly, because I don't believe it was in the version we watched,
No,
but apparently it is on the TV versions,
Yeah.
is Jared Leto as Bobby, uncredited, as a theatre actor
Yeah.
in a play called Dracula.
Yeah.
Christ knows what that's about. I mean, it's obviously a play on Dracula, but in what way, I don't know.
I think it's like a rock version.
Ah, that makes
Supposedly.
sense, yeah. Yeah, that would add up, actually.
They only add that into the TV version
Yeah,
to make up for TV time.
probably to fit it in a time slide.
Yeah.
I think how this film turned out is just phenomenal. It's tense, and there's some good reveals, I think. I mean, not all the reveals are unexpected, I don't think, but I've I've seen this film a handful of times anyway. Well, I'm maybe not the best person to say that, but I really do like how this plays out.
Yeah. There's always something to keep it going.
Yeah, definitely. And I
Drop the ball at all, I don't think.
no,
Well, in a runtime of 81 minutes.
yeah, there's not enough time to drop the ball.
No.
Or maybe there's plenty of time to drop the ball, and they're very good at keeping the ball.
They could. Maybe they cut a lot out.
It says about it playing out in real time, and I'm not so sure on that.
No.
Not 100%, no, because I feel it cuts away, and I feel like maybe he's been in that phone box for longer than he has been at parts. I don't know, but maybe that's just because I'm used to watching other films where they do cut away and some time has elapsed in the next important part. But to me, it doesn't feel as real time as it could, maybe. But I don't know. There is something in this that I particularly enjoyed, and it's when you get a picture-in-picture shot.
Yeah.
That happens a few times, and that's really cool because you get to see Colin Farrell still on the phone, and then another panel open up with another event playing out nearby and whatnot, and that's pretty cool. You don't get enough stuff like that in films, I don't feel.
No, not unless it's Hulk from 2003.
Which nobody liked at the time, apparently, and I've always been a fan, and I still like it now.
Yeah.
I've started to see more praise for it, though.
Yeah.
With Hulk, yeah.
It's other film I could think that does it.
Did you see that the extras weren't given any direction, particularly?
Yeah. So they kind of just react to everything that's said and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, and apparently everyone had earpieces and mics, so everyone could hear the other. So I'm guessing the extras are maybe part of the everyone when it says that, so they can actually hear the conversation nicely to react.
Yeah, maybe.
The phone was a working phone as well.
Yeah.
In the phone box, so that Colin Farrell was talking to somebody.
Yeah, apparently not Keith.
No, he came in later, and it says the recordings to have done in post, so I'm guessing that's some ADR work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great voice he's doing, but for what it's worth, they could have really just had Roger Jackson from the Scream films.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's much difference between
No.
Keith Sutherland's voice and Roger Jackson.
No, there isn't really.
And Keith Sutherland's only seen in this for less than 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd even guess it was maybe less than 2. He's really not in it long.
No, you don't need to.
The main reason I love this film is for Colin Farrell. His performance in the phone box of just him like sweating it out and seeming to get more tensed and panicked as it prolongs, because he starts thinking it's kind of a prank, doesn't he? And
yeah,
he's a bit of a douche when we meet him.
Yeah.
You know, it really plays out quite well.
Yeah. Well, without the performance, I don't think any of it had really held up too well.
This film is really held on Farrell's shoulders, isn't it, though?
Yeah.
And I guess that comes from having such a great director as well.
Yeah.
Schumacher really seems quite forgotten, I think, as a filmmaker.
People
maybe not as celebrated as he should be.
People just seem to bring up his Batman movies, which are still really well-made films and a lot different to what you get in.
I've never seen a better commercial for action figures than Batman and Robin.
I don't know if that's praise or not, but I feel like it is.
Yeah, it's kind of a praise. All he did was exactly what the studio asked for. So they've only got themselves to blame for them failings, haven't they?
Yeah.
Any more you want to say on this?
The writer of this is the writer of God Told Me To, which we covered a few months ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that film.
Yeah, because I remember joking about his possible hatred of phoning people.
Yeah. I have a feeling he gets anxiety whenever his phone rings.
Yeah. Because Cohen started writing the next film we're going to discuss while working on this.
Yes, he did, yeah. Shall I move into it?
Yeah.
Okay, which is 2004's Cellular.
I've been kidnapped. The phone I'm talking on, it's destroyed. If you hang up, I may not be able to get anybody else. Oh my God.
Someone's coming.
I'm gonna die here.
No!
Oh God. Oh God.
Directed by David R. Ellis, written by Larry Cohen and Chris Morgan. I think there's 2 uncredited writers on this as well, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
It was on the budget of $25 million, allegedly, and it grossed $57,678,320. Didn't do as well as it should have, I don't think. It stars Chris Evans as Ryan, Kim Basinger as Jessica Martin, Jason Statham as Ethan, William H. Macy, Sergeant Bob Mooney, and Jessica Biel as Chloe. And the synopsis that IMDb has it is: a young man receives an emergency phone call on his cell phone from an older woman. The catch? The woman claims to have been kidnapped, and the kidnappers have targeted her husband and child next.
Yeah.
I'll let you start the conversation about it, because I know this is it's probably one of your all-timers, isn't it?
Not really, no.
No?
I just think it is a great film.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say it's one of my all-time favourites or anything.
Well, you talk about it a lot.
No, I don't.
Okay, he doesn't. This is getting worse as it goes on. It's not one of his all-timers, and he doesn't talk about it a lot.
I don't. I feel like you're making stuff up.
I don't. That's my perspective.
I rarely mention this film.
Just every other day.
It's really not. I don't know where you're getting that from. But I do really like it. It is a good, well-crafted film. How they just keep it going. It's a bit unbelievable in comparison to the last one. But I think it is mainly more Larry Cohen's idea. And then Chris Morgan, I think, is the one who just came on and tried to make it a bit more faster-paced or something.
Yeah, sorry. Larry Cohen's credited as story.
Yeah. I'd say that mainly because Chris Morgan did the Fast and Furious films from like 3 on. He's the writer of like all of them, and Wanted, which is another one where it's just more of a fun film more than like the previous film, if you know what I mean. This one just kind of keeps it going.
Yeah.
I'd say that comes from the fact that he, for writing it, apparently, Chris Morgan looked at Indiana Jones and situational comedy to keep this movie like going and kind of believable. He wanted the main guy to be a bit Indiana Jones-esque, which I kind of get. He kind of makes jokes, and he's kind of like your normal guy, yet he can do all the stuff that he's.
Yeah, I remember when we meet him, I think he's got no t-shirt on. I says, "Oh, I'm sure they've done this so we can see that he's ripped, so we know he's capable of any physical altercations he's going to get into."
Yeah, which is pretty good. All the actors apparently did mostly all their own stunts. Like Chris Evans apparently did all his own car stunts at least.
Yeah.
He went 5 weeks.
Going at an LA driving stunt school.
Apparently wet himself or
unawares, which I find weird.
Well, I was mentioning writers, I should have said that the other uncredited writers are Eric Bress and J. Mackie Gruber. We have mentioned them before because they do The Butterfly Effect, which is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, as is this.
Apparently.
You talk about it a lot.
I don't. Maybe when we discuss Chris Evans movies that are underrated or Jason Statham movies that are underrated.
They have a lot though, don't they, those two?
Yeah, they do. Jessica Biel movies that are underrated. She's hardly in this. Pointless in Med.
I think it's just the fact she was Chris Evans' girlfriend at the time.
Yeah. One of my favourite actors, Eric Christian Olsen, has a kind of a small part in this. He's Chris Evans' best friend. I find it odd that apparently Sean William Scott could have.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
because I read Sean William Scott was up for a role in this,
and I was like, oh, it'll be Chris Evans' part.
Yeah, I thought, oh, it'd have been great to have seen Sean William Scott do that.
Yeah,
and then it was just as
Chad, the friend who disappears pretty much after the opening.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a shame.
It's a great part though. I like Eric Christian Olsen, to be honest.
Yeah. I feel like we've oddly followed his career from like Dumb and Dumberer when Harry met Lloyd. He was Lloyd in that, which we've covered on her. And then this, he's just like
the True Calling, the TV series.
Yeah, True Calling. And then he had another series, The Loop, where he played his brother in that. He's great in that.
Yeah.
I met him, so I had a great discussion about that and how he met his wife on there. I feel like I know him.
At least you met him. And it's from one of your all-time favourite films, Cellular.
Yeah, apparently, so you keep telling me.
Well, you talk about it like it is. Also, both him and Chris Evans were in Not Another Teen movie together.
Yeah, so I'm guessing he kind of got the role of best friend from that.
Maybe
that's why Sean William Scott didn't get it.
Yeah. Did you see that Jackie Chan was up for the role of Ethan? They wanted him originally.
Yeah.
Ethan is Jason Statham, who's pretty much the antagonist of the film.
Yeah, I'd love to have seen Jackie Chan in there.
Yeah, I would have. Although I quite like it being Statham.
Yeah.
And apparently the scene where Statham goes to interrogate Jessica when he's got a captive with the belt.
Yeah.
It was improvised. They didn't know they were going to do the belt, so her reaction's quite a real reaction.
Yeah. Yeah, she said something like, surprised me.
Yeah, and no, he did. I think this film is a great showcase of what Statham's capable of when you let him.
Yeah.
Because they seem to have put him in a box now ever since. Everyone just wants Statham from Transporter and whatever is in.
Yeah.
And I want Statham from this and Statham from another film that I don't want to say that we'll be discussing, I think, next week.
Yeah.
Which is just incredible. What I do like about this, though, is William H. Macy.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal in this. It's convinced me the H stands for hero.
It's all you said throughout the whole film was just H is for hero.
I mean, is it not? Unlike the last film, this phone, the mobile he's on, is a Nokia 6600.
Yeah.
This is the single greatest phone ever made. Hold on a second, I'm emailing this video to myself.
Don't get one, this phone didn't work apparently. He had an earpiece in instead for communication. No, the film probably did work, but it weren't a working phone for the sake of the film.
Yeah.
But they struggled, they wanted to get an actual...
major network.
A network deal for product placement type thing. They asked pretty much all of them and they all declined because they said it didn't do a good job or something at displaying it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's called 457 Communications.
Yeah.
Which surely 24/7 Communications is right there.
Right, already taken.
Oh, I don't know. I thought you maybe thought the same and looked it up. But I just find this film pretty phenomenal. And just the amount of weird cast members that crop up in cameos.
Yeah.
We've got Noah Emmerich as Jack Tanner. He's a little more of an important part.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a lot of TV stuff. People recognize him, I think, the Walking Dead finale. He's the soldier at the base they want to go to.
In season 1.
Yeah.
Season 1 finale.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't know really what happens after season 4 of that show.
You watched it?
Yeah, I didn't watch it to the end, and it doesn't mean I remember that well either. I know there was a black and white bit somewhere.
I know I watched the season 4 and you got ahead.
And I remember what's his name came back, Lenny James's character.
Yeah. Anyway, go about cast.
Yeah, we've got Richard Burgi as Craig Martin.
Yeah.
I've not really wrote what he's from, but he's in Desperate Housewives.
Yeah.
He's Sue's ex-husband.
Ex-husband, yeah.
And
Starship Troopers 2, I think.
Yeah, and I want to say he's in a film called Exchange. Nope. No,
No, you're
never mind.
thinking-
Yeah, that was Orson from.
Yeah, you get new Desperate
Yeah.
Housewives actors confused.
It's been a while since I've watched that show. I need to rewatch it. It's a great show. But fascinatingly, he's one of the guys behind the events in Hostel Part 2.
Right.
Well, we have Rick Hoffman appear as a cameo as a lawyer.
Yeah.
Everyone that's watched Suits, which is a lot of people now apparently since the pandemic, will recognise him as Louis Litt
Yeah.
as in Suits.
He's great.
He was also in Thanksgiving last year, the horror film from Eli Roth. But he's also previously worked with Eli Roth with Hostel Part 1. He was the guy behind all the incidents in that one.
Right.
And Rick Hoffman also weren't even supposed to appear as a lawyer in this film. Did you see that?
It was supposed to be Simon Cowell as himself.
Yep.
I'm kind of glad it's Rick Hoffman as a lawyer.
Yeah, me too.
To me, this is set in the same
Yeah.
world as Suits.
We also have Al Sapienza as Fake Craig, which will make sense when you watch the film. I'm not going to spoil it. He plays one of the crooked cops from the Person of Interest TV series. He crops up in quite a few TV shows as well. He often plays somebody on the wrong side of the law, more often than not from my familiarity with him.
Yeah.
Some of my favourite names I actually missed because I don't know how they look. Dean Devlin was a cab driver uncredited. And this was going to be his directing debut, this film.
Yeah.
And from there is Robert Shea. He's a New Line. He's been a producer a few times. I think he's a producer on all the Nightmare on Elm Streets.
Yeah.
And he was New Line chairman at this time.
Right.
He's not credited by his name, Robert Shea. He's credited as L.E. Mocco.
Right.
And the character he's playing is detective-looking guy. So I don't understand that.
Right. The name he's credited as, it's referenced to a French detective.
Right. Oh, and I bet he's dressed looking like the detective from the film.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get in on that then.
Yeah.
Lynn Shay, who people will recognise as the teacher in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
People will recognise her from the Insidious films. She was in the Quarry video game.
Yeah.
I think she was Lance Henriksen's wife in that. And her character in this, I had to double take if it was her and instantly had to look it up because she's playing some... I think she's credited as being a exotic woman driver, is it? Well, she's got her radio on. I think it's playing a 50 Cent rap or something, and she's in like weird like leopard print or something. Such a weird look. You wouldn't expect it of her, I don't think.
No.
And that's quite a big cameo. But Mersha, I think her first name's pronounced Monroe. She does a lot of comedy shows and stuff. She plays Chloe's friend in this, although I'd missed her if it was her. But apparently this is her debut.
Right.
As is Valerie Cruz. I think this was her debut as well. Valerie Cruz plays Dana Baybank in this, who's quite an integral character that I don't think should spoil for those that haven't seen this.
Right.
But people will recognise her from, I think she was in a few episodes of Dexter, and she was in a brilliant movie. I think it's a remake of a Danish film. I could be wrong about it being Danish. The Loft.
Yeah.
Phenomenal cast.
Yeah.
We should probably cover that on here at some point, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just some of the fascinating little faces that crop up as we follow Chris Evans around LA.
Yeah.
Which I think, for a movie fan and somebody that's watched a lot of TV from this era as well, I think it's just adds to the enjoyment of watching the film, picking out these little faces that pop up in his expedition.
Yeah.
But the part that I wanted to remember from when I mentioned Richard T. Jones, any idea what that is?
It's where Jessica's been held, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the house from Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yes.
The one they rent.
Yeah.
I knew I recognised that house.
Same. But I just found that quite a fascinating little overlap, as well as just the plot and the writer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said, but the director of this does Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah.
That might give you an idea what to expect from this.
Yeah.
Not that they're similar, but there's that certain like 2000s energy in the editing and the directing on it that you can only really get in the 2000s. You know, some of the editing that they did back then doesn't seem to work now.
No.
Yet when you watch it in a 2000s movie, you think, brilliant. Good stuff. Looking at you, Saw. Saw franchise is great for it. All in fast, zippy cuts. But I can't even remember when I first watched this film. I just remember I know I've seen it and loved it. And I've watched it every time I've seen when it's on TV.
First time on TV, so it could have been 2006 or 7.
Yeah.
Channel 4, probably at 7 o'clock on a Sunday. No, it's a great film. Not one of my favourites. I wish you'd stop telling people that.
I wish you'd stop talking about it like it is and I might believe it.
Most I've talked about you when we're setting up this film. Can't think of when I last spoke about it.
All the time.
It really isn't.
Every time you see a picture of Chris Evans, you're like, ugh. Remember that movie, Cellular, where he was on the phone for the whole film?
I don't know why. I thought you guys say every time you get your phone out, you just...
Well, I think this does do well that we build his character up from how he's portrayed at the beginning and then what he has to go through. It's almost like a coming-of-age action movie.
Right. We need more of those coming-of-age action movies. Here's a slacker. By the end, he's going to be a really well-rounded guy.
I mean, it's not the fact she's a slacker, is it, really? It's a bit like Colin Farrell in a sense. He's a bit of a douche.
Calling Colin Farrell a douche, or his character?
His character, sorry, Stuart Shepherd, is similar to Ryan in this, and that he's a douche.
All right.
But I really like William H. Macy in this a lot.
The H stands for hero.
Yeah, because he's just this cop that's apparently been demoted after some incident a couple of years ago or something. And manages to somehow get himself entangled because he's the cop Chris Evans goes to when he first receives the call and says, I've got a woman on the phone, she's claiming to be kidnapped kind of thing. And then like he sees some news reports later in the day and it's like, oh dear, I need to investigate. And he goes on his own little private mission to investigate and ends up helping, obviously, resolve the whole thing to a point.
It is quite a well-made film, going from Larry Cohen's idea of just, how do I do phone booth, but keep it on the move?
Yeah.
Because that was essentially what it was.
Put your phone box on wheels, I guess, would have been an option.
That would have been a really weird one. I know the original script was completely different to what this was.
I have one note from one of the script versions, anyway, that Jessica Kim Bassinger's character was going to be in on it all.
Yeah, I did have a bit more on that, but I don't seem to have wrote everything down. But the main character was going to be a thief.
Oh, so he's already got a particular set of skills?
Yeah. And somehow he gets entangled in it and she's kind of in on the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
that sounds even more coincidental than just managing to call somebody in the same city area.
I'd have loved it if she ended up calling someone way out.
I would have loved that. Like, she calls this guy, he's like, I can help. And then somehow this place has like schools with the same name or something. Something really coincidental that way. Then you get a Saw reveal that he's in the wrong city. But I guess that's just part of the small world storytelling that happens a lot.
Yeah.
And you just have to buy into that. But once you pass that, the film, I think, works quite well.
Yeah.
Because there's constantly something happening for you to be thinking about instead of, why is he still on the phone?
Yeah.
Why doesn't he get somebody else's phone and call the police on this?
Like I said, I think the influence of Indiana Jones and situational comedies, I can see how it fits in. Because the comedic elements to this is
pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a film that could have ended with the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme, that ba-bam, bam, bam, na, 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 and you'd be like, yeah, okay.
Is there any more you want to say on this one?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think.
Am I right to move along to the...
I mean, it's the same film, really, isn't it?
No, it's a Chinese remake.
It's a similar film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connected from 2008.
喂，先生，救命啊！救命啊！他们一定会杀我的。你现在是唯一可以救我们的人。
小姐，唔該，你唔好玩電話啦，係咁啦，拜拜。
Is directed by Benny Chan. I'll just list the writers who adapted the Cellular script, which I find weird that it took 3 people to adapt it for Chinese audiences. They are Benny Chan, Bing Zhu, Alan Yoon. This one stars Louis Koo as Bob, Barbie Hsu as Grace, Nick Chung as Detective Bai, Yi Lu as Senior Inspector Fock, Louis Fan as Tong, Eddie Chung as Detective Chung. That was a coincidence. The budget for this was 35 million in Chinese yen, and it grossed 10,365,850 yen. And yeah, the synopsis, can you believe it, reads, a man receives a distressing phone call from a woman who has been kidnapped. Yeah, it's basically the same film.
Except it's not.
No.
I didn't enjoy it as much, I'll be honest. I really didn't.
No. They wrote it for the characters to be more real.
Yeah.
And I kind of got that, except for Tom, who's played by Louis Fan, who's your favourite guy.
Yeah, he's from Ricky O. I can't remember the full name of the movie, but it's an amazing, like, gory martial art prison drama thing.
Yeah, I don't feel he's very believable. Mainly to do with his attire and overall appearance. Yeah, I think the long trench coat.
Yeah, and then
all
black glasses. Like, did he have a black hat as well?
I think at one point, maybe. Yeah, he was a bit out of this world.
Compared to everyone else, anyway.
But yeah, they tried to make characters feel more real, which I think, yeah, okay. But then they went, let's have some strange action.
Yeah, they changed quite a bit as well. They chose to make Jessica's character, or in this Grace anyway, younger, like a similar age to our protagonist Bob, which is called in this. Which I'm assuming it's Bob in reference to William H. Macy's character, Sergeant Bob, the hero.
Yeah, maybe.
And he's a completely different character. In Cellular, we've got Ryan, and he's this like beach bro douchey guy.
Yeah.
And then in Connected, we've got essentially a stereotypical nerdy type. And I think family man, or failing family man anyway. He's estranged from his wife somehow, but he's got a kid with her.
Yeah, and he's a debt collector.
And Well, you learn that at the end, don't you?
No, you learn that early on when he's debt collecting.
Oh, okay. And I don't feel there's any character growth from him.
No.
In Cellular, it's the film's plot is there to grow Chris Evans from man-child to man, I guess. Whereas Connected, it's just Bob dealing with somebody else's problems.
Yeah, I didn't really feel the connection
No.
in this one.
And aging down the woman made it obvious with where the ending was going to go, I think.
Yeah.
No?
Well, I knew it was a remake,
Yeah.
so I kind of got where the ending was going to go. It does set it all up in different locations, it felt.
Yeah, because in Cellular, he has to go to he still has to go to the school, doesn't he, to get the kid?
Yeah.
Whereas in this, they go to a hospital and not an airport.
Yeah.
Which changes it a little.
Yeah.
Because I really like the airport scene
But in this, they'll
Cellular.
go to the airport for the finale.
Yeah, it ends at an airport instead of the beach.
Yeah.
But he has to go to a bank in Cellular to help retrieve something which it turns out is what the people want.
Yeah.
Where in here, it's like, they're looking in the hills for it.
Yeah.
You have to find it before they do.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, and then he finds the backpack or something that had it in. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
And then he has to take that massive roll down the hill as he escapes them.
Yeah. I think adapting it to the location and everything like that, and like they said, their own audiences,
Yeah.
I think it kind of changes the location, which kind of changes the film in a way as well.
Well, they wanted to do a car jump,
yeah,
which apparently the government wouldn't allow them to in I can't remember what city, but they wanted to do it more in the city centre and they wouldn't allow them to. So they decided to film on the outskirts of the city without their permission and did the car jump anyway. So,
Yeah.
Which I'm guessing that means the people that you see around the car jumping and stuff are just regular everyday pedestrians.
possibly.
But it could also be why there's a part in the film where it would have been great, but you don't actually see the cars jump properly. It cuts from it hitting the top of the ramp to the landing.
Yeah.
And they do not feel like connected shots to me at all. They feel like they were stitched for sure from different places, even geographically.
Yeah.
And that just didn't work for me.
Well, I will say while we're on about stunts, that Lewis Koo did perform all his own stunts.
All right.
So good on Bob.
Yeah. Good for Bob, I guess.
I couldn't take him seriously with a name like Bob.
Bob is like a goldfish's name, and that's about it. Or that goon from Batman 89.
Bob, remember, you are my number one guy.
Because he was Jack Nicholson's friend.
The one named after Bob Keating,
Yeah,
I believe.
allegedly. But Lewis Fan in this, is it Lewis Fan?
Yeah.
From Ricky O. He does get to do some great fight scene spectacle stuff, I guess, towards the end.
Yeah, he's good. I liked him in it. I did like Detective Faye in this, so.
Yeah, Nick Chung.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the William H. Macy, H stands for hero.
Yeah.
character in this.
I've wrote, where's the H for hero in his name?
It's in the Chung.
That means his name is Nick C. Hero. Oh,
I don't know about you, but I think
it doesn't roll off the tongue. So
I think for this film, I think he should have been Detective Bob, and Bob should have had a different name.
I mean, Bob suits his character, really, because he's such a boring guy.
He seems it. He don't really have any charisma, does he?
But you compared it to Chris Evans, who's just oozing charisma. Like, that guy has to go to bed and get up and, like, wring his sheets of charisma when he gets up, I imagine, for Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I've heard if Chris Evans is around you and you're about to sneeze and he offers you a hanky to blow your nose into, you've just gained charisma just from that.
Okay. I do think, looking at the director, I know he is capable of a better film.
Yeah, because we have seen some of his others.
He did New Police Story.
Yeah.
The 2005?
Is that the one with the, like, specialist team in the opening and they go through the building?
Yeah.
Was it that one? Or was it the Bomb Squad like one?
No, it's not that one. It's the one before that. It is the one with Daniel Wu,
Yes.
which was kind of my favourite one of the police stories.
Great police story film.
Yeah.
I love the original most, though.
I guess I do really like the originals.
When it's a little more slapstick and
Yeah.
kind of funny.
Director also did Jackie Chan's Who Am I as well. Alan Heward, one of the writers on this, was a writer on that as well.
Yes, he was.
New Police Story, he was a writer
Yeah.
on, sorry.
I knew what you meant. That's why I was agreeing, because I'd already looked him up.
And I got the cinematographer from A New Police Story, so I was very confused at why the...
Isn't Police Story?
No, I really...
Jackie Chan, he wasn't in Cellular. He should at least be in this one.
Yeah. It's just I really did like New Police Story. I like the look of it.
Yeah.
And when I saw that this was the same guy, I was like, this doesn't have the same... but then I was thinking it won't have the same budget, surely.
I mean, I like Police Story that much. I had to buy a box set from China just so I could own them all.
Yeah. I did enjoy this film. Maybe I would have enjoyed it a lot more not knowing Cellular.
Yeah. And maybe not knowing it was a remake of Cellular.
Maybe, yeah. The film is very familiar. I love it. But I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I think for the Chinese audience, if they watch,
I imagine they'd have liked it.
it's
For the fact
great,
it's
but-
done with changes to fit their cultures and film styles more
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
I imagine it will fit their tastes more. If I was maybe more familiar with Chinese cinema, I'd probably like this a little more.
Maybe.
Because, like, obviously different cultures have their own slight tropes and variations on tropes that just work. Sometimes they seem a bit off, but if you are used to them, it can work.
My main thing mainly was the character Bob. I just didn't.
I find him a bit of a wet blanket.
I couldn't get behind that guy.
For me, I would have rather have Louis Fan being the Bob guy.
Yeah,
But he'd
probably.
probably be too old for that role now.
I think the main character just needed to be different, and I think I'd have enjoyed this more.
Yeah. But again, is that a change for Chinese culture?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they wanted a more normal-ish guy getting involved in the whole.
Yeah, but they won't have probably the douchey beach type.
No,
as well.
maybe they went like, we have douchey debt collectors.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's the fact that with him, the equivalent of him being a douche, I guess, is his failed relationship
Yeah,
with his partner and child. For me, the film didn't really satisfy me until it got to the airport location at the end. When it goes into the showdown and he's on the phone with the criminals and he's like, I need you to meet me. And they're looking for him, but he's looking for them. And
I think that's for us where it came down to being more of what we know from Chinese cinema.
possibly, because I haven't watched as much as I'd like to admit. Although we're watching one tonight, hopefully.
Yeah,
I think it's When the River Flows or Where the River Flows.
one of them is the
Yeah.
title you keep telling you.
I'll get it. It's When the River Flows, and it's a Chinese neo-noir movie about police detectives. I think it looks a bit like Memories of Murder, which is a phenomenal film I think that's a Korean film. Worth checking out if you've not seen Memories of Murder. And it looks like Where the River Flows is worth checking out as well.
Yeah. Back to this film though, apparently Warner China felt a remake of Cellular would really reach out to the cell phone users population of China. I guess it would, but Benny Chang claims it's the most demanding film
that he'd ever made
in his career, trying to write it to appeal to their audiences, which took 2 years to craft the characters and situations into a more believable and a more Chinese-friendly movie, I guess.
It sounds like the changes made to play it a little safe.
Yeah. I did enjoy a lot of this film, though. I said just not as much, but one is apparently my all-time favourite, one of my all-time favourite films.
For sure. So you're not going to like a remake all that much.
No.
It's a valiant attempt, and I would be curious to see how Chinese audiences view Connected and how they view Cellular if they've even seen it.
Yeah. Do you think some Chinese audience have watched it and went like, I think this would be better?
This is the film we should all rally behind to remake.
Yeah. I just think it's weird how Cellular is one of the films that I've noticed has a remake. And it's such a strange one.
I don't think I mentioned it, but Phone Booth has a Indian remake in 2010 called Knockout.
Yeah.
And there's a Japanese stage play, which Larry Cohen was apparently invited to, and he was like, I don't speak Japanese, so I don't see the point in going. Which I think is a bit cruel. I think he should have gone and just seen it, because like you don't have to understand the language, I don't think, to get the situation when you're watching the actors perform.
No, you could have just watched that and gone like, oh, these are some odd changes made.
Was he getting shot by a real life sniper? Yeah. I don't know why I said.
Wow.
Because when we found out there was an Indian remake of Phone Booth called Knockout, we did try to look for that to find online on a streaming service somewhere, but couldn't.
We're lucky Connected was on Netflix.
Yes, Connected was on Netflix.
Saying a remake of Cellular.
Yeah.
It was on Amazon.
Cellular is on Prime, and Phone Booth was on Disney, if I'm right.
Yeah.
For us in the UK anyway, that's where we found them all.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. But like I said, Knockout wasn't streaming anywhere, and so if I do manage to find that, we might do a little update episode or something with it. I don't know.
Maybe we'll put this out again with that attached at the back end. But for this, they filmed all of Barbie Shoe's scenes first, which I'm guessing is because it's all one location.
Yeah, that would be
just easier to do, and she can go off to whatever then, can't she?
Yeah.
And then they did all of Lewis Coo's scenes after that, which I'm guessing is because it's, well, jumping around the city, stunt work, and some action pieces that I could have seen earlier.
Speaking of cast, I wrote a cast member down, and I don't think you did. Anki Bilke, if I'm saying it right. They're German.
Right.
I think German. They play Michelle.
Yeah.
She's the only character in the film, I think, that was speaking English.
Yeah.
And they're playing the equivalent role of Dana Bayback, played by Valerie Cruz.
Yeah.
They're a bit of a pivotal role in the film because it helps the events play out the way they need to in both films. But I just found it odd they'd just put a German actress in there. I did look her up, and I can't remember what she was in, so bear with me. She's barely in anything as an actress.
Yeah.
I've not even heard of some of these films.
You said you were German.
Yeah, I know, but she's in a lot of Asian cinema. Connected being the first, and then it looks like all of them but a TV series called Das Trom Hotel,
Awesome.
which
I
is
love that.
German. But I'm guessing from looking at the names on some of them, they're all German.
Yeah.
Because like she only has a small part, but I would watch more with her in because she seemed pretty capable of some things, like action-wise and stuff. So I'm just curious what some of her other stuff's like. Anything else you want to say? Or is it time to hang up?
You and your phone buttons. No, I don't think I have anything else to say about it.
Okay.
So I'll sign us out, I guess.
Yeah. Hang us up.
Yeah. Sorry, hang us up. So that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us this week. And if you haven't already, click like and subscribe. A glowing review would also be appreciated. Me a cynic_critique on X and Instagram. Links to those and more can be found in the show's description. Remember to join us again next week as we reunite with some cast members and have deep conversations discussing London and the Sunset Limited. Thank you. Goodbye.
I have to get out of here. That's my chopper. But before I do...
I was picking you up?
Yeah.